Eric here again with Thrifty Survivor, and I'd like to welcome you to our Thrifty Survivor YouTube channel. Now today what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see all this stuff here on the ground, but I'm just going to show how to build a tent out of a tarp that's got both a floor as well as a door. So that keeps all the elements out, makes it convenient if it's raining, you stay dry, and anyway, that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to basically be talking through the whole process. It's not really that complicated once you've done it once, but here goes, and I hope this helps y'all. So this is just a regular 9 by 12 Walmart tarp. You've probably seen this at Walmart, and the reason I'm using this is just to show that you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to have something. I mean, you can carry this in your car, even in your backpack. Now it's a little bit heavy. It's heavier than you know, your lightweight tarps. However, it'll get the job done. It is very durable. One nice thing about it that your other tarps aren't going to have, your lightweight tarps, is one side is reflective and the other side is not. And I'll be basically explaining why that could be important here in just a little bit. So let's get started. Now I don't know if I might be moving around here. This is going to take a little bit of room, but again, this is 9 foot by 12 foot, and the dimensions are actually pretty important for one of these tarps. It's not so much the size, it's the ratio. This is not actually the perfect shape, but it's pretty close, and it'll work just fine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the reflective side down. Now that's what you're going to want to do in the winter time. In the summertime, you're going to probably want to flip it over, which it is right now, but because you basically want to reflect the heat back out. However, let's just pretend it's winter, okay? Can we do that? All right. Okay, here goes. Now, try to stretch this out. And what I'm doing, this is going to be the rear of the tarp tent, and that's going to be the front. This is the 9 foot length, and the 12 foot length is on the width. Now I don't know if I'm staying in camera there, but now for starters, you might want to pan back, because I'm going to pull this back a little ways here, and I'm going to drive a stake dead center in the back. Now I'm going to try to make sure that I'm dead center here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that will be the middle. Okay, now I'm going to pull this back a little farther because I think I may need the distance. And I'm just sticking the stake in there. And then we're going to grab, I think I covered it up, my other gear. Yep, sure enough. Okay. I got a little paracord here. I got these little doggy leashes I picked up at the dollar store, and these are actually quite handy. Obviously you're not going to hang a hammock from them, but they're plenty good enough for setting up a tarp tent. And what's nice about them is they're easy to adjust, so you can adjust the tension and get exactly what you're looking for. Now, before I go any further, this tarp is a little bit large for using a trekking pole such as this one. However, it does work, and I'm going to use this just for the simple fact that most of you, if you're going out on backpacking trips or hiking trips, you're probably going to have at least one of these, if not two, and this will work. Now, preferably I would use something longer such as this, but not everybody carries one of these for, you know, for their rifle. So I'm going to use this, and it's going to basically be a little bit short in the front, but it'll still do the job done. I've done it before, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch it out as far as it goes. And I'm not sure exactly the length on this one, but it's about an average trekking pole. And I'm going to set it upside down. Now the reason for that is if you've got this little I forget what these are called, but anyway, this little section here, you run this right through the grommet and it'll hold it in place. It's not gonna slide down. Okay, so that works well. And well, it'll stay up as soon as I get some tension on it. Alright. Okay. What I should have done, these little things have these little D-rings here, and actually I'm going to pull this off, run the D-ring through here, put this back on, and I think you might see where this is going. I'm going to go ahead and put some tension on this. I'm going to need probably at least one more of these, and I'm going to grab a stake ahead of time here, and basically I just run this through. It doesn't really matter if it falls over right now. Let me see here. Okay. Pardon me. But these are things that you're going to deal with in real life situation. Things don't always go perfect. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just temporarily put a stake here. I'll probably have to snug that up a little bit. Yeah. Well, I've got a root there, so I can't tighten it up too much. But it's going to come together here pretty quick. Now what I'm doing, if we could get the horse out of the way, well here, I'm going to start on this side, is I'm not running the stake through the far corner. I'm running it through the one right next to it. And the reason for that is this is going to become your door. So, and again, with this type of tarp tent, usually you're going to have to make a few adjustments before you get it just right. Oh, step over here. Grab this. Now the reason a longer pole would be better is in order, oh, stuck it in the wrong one there. There we go. Is when you fold these in for a door, if this was taller, they actually would come together better in the middle. But this still will work. All you got to do is let them in a little bit. It does create a little bit of sag on the sides. And again, I just wanted to use a trekking pole that most of you may have on hand rather than something. Now, another option would be, of course, if you can find a branch on a tree that's about the right length, you could either drive a nail in the end and do the same thing as here. Maybe find one that's just a hair longer, I'd say about 3 or 4 inches longer. Not that that's real important because you all can figure it out. It's not that difficult. But I'm going to move this in a little bit. Do the same thing on this side. Well, actually, okay. Now you got to have a little bit of tension. So. Now this is the biggest reason here why having a longer stake would be better, because it would keep more tension on this and still allow for the doors to close completely. You can do it basically, and what I use is actually tarp clips to hold these shut. Now, how do you get the floor inside? All you do is you tuck these ends underneath. Doing the same thing on this side. Now it's going to be scorching in there, but here goes. Okay. All right, now I'm going to move this over this way a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to ask Brian to take the camera off. It might be a little bit wobbly there for a little bit, or shaky, but basically just want to show you what's going on inside here. Yeah, just point the camera in there. Now, if you look in there, you got a floor that comes almost all the way to the front. Not quite, but I don't know if you saw the dog on the front there. That'd be a good place maybe for the dog to rest, or, you know, whatever. Put your feet there. Now, the size of the tarp also can vary. A little bit larger tarp, a rather large person could even get in there. You've got a floor, and what I would do if it's somewhat on a hill is I would point the back end up the hill. That way water will always run out instead of trying to come in this way. There are ways to prevent it from coming in from the other direction. Basically, if you just tuck the ends up, you know, you can stick a few sticks under there, and that usually works pretty well. However, you know, from my experience, this is the better way of doing it. This is a little bit of an incline here. You may not see it with the camera, but once again, I would always point that end. If it's slightly uphill, I'd point that in slightly uphill. Something else though, if you're dealing with wind, if you feel that there's going to be windy conditions, this isn't always an option, but you want to point the tail end into the wind. And if you do that, this can actually be real stable, because the wind's just going to blow right off of it. Again, if this pole was just a little bit longer, frankly, if I was out in the woods and had to run, I would probably, rather than using the trekking pole for this particular tarp, is I would just try to find a limb, you know, a tree limb that's a little bit longer. That way both the sides here would have plenty of tension on them, make it much sturdier. You can just line this up. You can also tighten these up. These little, I got these at the dollar store, as I mentioned earlier. Now you could use paracord. You got to understand knots a little bit with that, and you can make knots that'll slide up and down. But I'm using something that anybody can do here. This came from Walmart. I don't remember what I paid for it, but I don't think it was even 20 bucks. These were $1 a piece. So I got $2 here. The stakes, I don't remember, but I got those at Walmart also. And that's it. That's all you got here. And the nice thing about the tarp is you can do other things with it. If you've got a hammock, and I'll probably show how to do that in another video, but you can set this up in a different way. You don't need a floor if you're going to be using a hammock. But I've used a tarp like this one, made a tent out of it with a door on both ends, ran the hammock through it, didn't have a floor, but it gave a little bit more room, and again, the hammock, you don't really worry about a floor with a hammock. So unless you got other things you want to keep on the ground. But anyway, just wanted to show this. I figured this would be kind of a useful, kind of an informative video. It's not so much a review. I'm not doing a review on the Walmart tarps, but this reflective side being on the inside, in the wintertime, what that does for you is it'll reflect your body heat back in on you. Also, if you pull these open, and let's say you're going to have a fire here. Now, you got to be careful. Your fire, you don't want to put it right under your strap. You go off to the side a little bit there, and probably you would want to stretch, if your fire's on that side, stretch this out this way, and just kind of fold that one over to the back. Fire's not going to hit this that way, and this will reflect the heat from the fire back on you. This really, it's kind of bordering on a super shelter, okay? Now there are other things that can be done if you really wanted to create a super shelter, but it's real easy to do. Now again, this wasn't perfect. This is too short. If this were longer, there'd be plenty of tension on both sides, and these doors would close better because you'd have more slack there. And trust me, it's just completely sealed to the elements. As much as you can have it with a tarp. And when you close the doors in, there's a little bit of a tilt this way, so any water that would hit here is going to fall beyond the point where it actually gets onto the floor that you have in there. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Now, I'm not going to include any links on the tarp because you can pick this up at Walmart. I may throw a link in on the trekking pole that I used, and I may just throw a link also for a lightweight tarp that I have used also, which I really like. Just kind of a little bit of a different purpose. But aside from that, that should be about it. And once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Now, we would really appreciate it if you liked this information. Please give us a big thumbs up, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Furthermore, if you'd like to help support our channel, just visit us at thriftysurvivor.com. That's our Amazon affiliate site, and we got tons of products on there that you might want to check out. Any purchases that come through the website, or even the links that I provide, Amazon does give us a little bit of a kickback there, and it does not affect your price. Okay, I just want you all to know that. All it does is it helps us out, helps us produce more videos such as this. Anyway, I want to thank you all again. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon, and bye for now.